Now I begin a bit before my presentation with a foreword. So first, good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity to give a short talk here in this inspiring environment. Really inspiring, very interesting. So first, I would like to introduce myself. I studied Qigong with the Chinese Qigong Grandmaster Guba from 1996 to 2014. Together, we founded the Taoyuan School for Qigong. It's pronounced Qigong in Chinese. During this time, I organized his courses, accompanied him on his travels, and translated his courses. Since he also lived with us, we talked about Qigong every single day during this time. I learned a lot from him. When he no longer wanted to travel at the age of 86, he introduced me as his successor in his courses. So he stayed in China then. Before I begin my presentation, I would also like to touch on a few topics that I have already been mentioned here during this Congress here. First, the term Qi. What is it? It's difficult to understand if you do not practice Qigong. Qigong is work with Qi or the results of Qi. Qi is translated as energy matter, as the modern physics. You can gain a truly lasting impression of what Qi means through sustained regular practice of classical Chinese Qigong forms. It begins with the first 5 minutes of practice. You feel the first effects of Qi through the development of warmth or cold in your hands and feet, a tingling sensation in your hands, and possibly even a feeling of magnetism between your hands. This begins in the first 5 minutes, even if you have never practiced Qigong or something else before. You have only to be a bit relaxed, and if it has to be a classical Qigong form. I also learned new Qigong forms before I met this master, but that they were good as well, but not as impressive as this what I learned with him then. In Qigong, blockages in the flow of Qi and blood are dissolved and drained. This, together with the intake of fresh Qi during the practice, can regulate circulation in the body, improve health, and heal illnesses. So under our students, there are a lot of people who had the same results as I heard now in this last presentation, and I heard it several times, what can be done with the Ayurveda and also the yoga. This all is possible with Qigong. Even the results of the sitting practice, we call it sitting Qigong. Here it's called in general meditation, in China it's called sitting Qigong. But in general, we begin with the standing exercises because you can feel the Qi faster than sitting. When you practice classical Chinese Qigong, you always have your doctor within you. It's yourself, your own doctor. You just have a problem, you got cold, something. You put you there and you practice a certain time, and then it will be healed. In fact, we teach a type of Qigong whose exercises allow practitioners to heal virtually all illnesses. In China, it was called Qigong for difficult to treat illnesses, including cancer. In fact, we have had several students at our school who had cancer and, with or without accompanying medical treatment, regained their health through adequate self-activation of their Qi. These simple beginner exercises have many positive effects that can be very helpful, especially today of all the life. And I say simple beginner exercises that are classical exercises, but classical beginner exercises. In more advanced exercises, the absorbed Qi is transformed in the body so that we can emit, for example, cool Qi, which can be used to heal burns, or even we can heal broken bones in others, for example. All with our own Qi developed through practice. We do not need any instrument, only our own body. At this point, it is already clear that the term Qi cannot be translated into a language that has no idea what it means. We have to know what it means, so it is easy to talk about, but to get a real impression during several years, it begins at the beginning. You feel it, but then it changes. Also, how you can feel it is developing. So then our idea of founding a Qigong school was based on the consideration that many of our students had learned a little here and there, a colorful mixture of different qualities and levels of Qigong and various exercises from other sources. This is not the way to achieve a high level. Classical Qigong exercises are systematically structured, such a system with exercises that are appropriate for students at different stages of development also characterize our school. In addition, the teaching of such exercises had to be adapted to the needs and abilities of Western students. This type of exercises had not been taught during the Qigong fever in China. They had been taught, but not in were not very large in the society. So it was very new. It was the first time that we began to teach that in groups of Westerners. This process is still ongoing today. So that was a bit background, and now I begin with the longevity in Chinese Qigong. So first we see the 8 immortals that are not all the immortals which exist, but that are the most well known. They are to be found in nearly every Taoist temple in China, and also they were to be found in nearly every Chinese restaurant in Germany. That's a group of people who they received the immortality. It is said that, and they have been living before on the earth, and they come from all the social sides. They are rich one, they are poor one. There was a general, there was a intellectual, there was a young boy, even there was a woman there. Everybody can practice Qigong and follow the Tao. So, and this one here, this is Lu Dongbing. He made this calligraphy that was perhaps in 1200, not very long ago. When if we think that the Qigong began perhaps 5,000 years ago. There are oral informations. They already had a really high level, so in reality it has to be still older. So this character here, that means longevity, and in Chinese expression they mean immortality. With this, when they say longevity, also talk about immortality. But the belief in immortality is not if you tell somebody here in the West about immortality, he will laugh. He will not. We think perhaps it's some sectarian organization. They will not believe it. And in China, also some 1,000, 2,000 years ago, they didn't believe that. So they call it longevity. So, and these immortals or long-living people, they are divided into 3 categories by Taoism. First, human immortals, second, earthly immortals, and third, heavenly immortals. Human immortals lead human lives, but they live much longer than their contemporaries. Earthly immortals live as long as the earth exists and remain on it. Do not leave the earth. Heavenly immortals ascend to heaven and exist as long as heaven exists, because also the heaven will not last forever. So this is this character, and this Lu Dongbing. Yes, I already presented him a bit. If you want to read this in detail, you can ask me. I will voluntarily send you this PPT then. So we continue with an earthly, a human immortal. He is even mentioned in Wikipedia, Li Yuan, and he was about 250 years old when he died. So this is documented by the emperor, because he worked at the army, and then he left army at the age of 78. He retired and returned to a life of gathering herbs on Snow Mountain in Sichuan province. But due to this military service, he got the congratulations every 50 years. So on his 100th years, they congratulated him. They congratulated him his 150th and his 200th birthday. So, but he lived a very simple life. This is important, and he practiced this hand posture that you can see, that we use it as well for meditation, that also is said to perhaps lead to longevity. Now we go back in history to Shennong. Shennong, he was one of the founders of the Chinese culture, one of the first emperors as well, together with Huangdi and Fuxi. And this Shennong, he is mainly known as a taster of various herbs, which he classified into different categories and described according to criteria of Chinese medicine. And these herbs in these categories are still used today. There were other doctors who developed that a bit, but the main thing is still used today, about 5,000 years ago. Also, he developed his nutritional recommendations on this basis. And so he is the emperor who expressly recommended consumption of starchy foods. This means they just began to cultivate agricultural products. And also this Shennong taught the Chinese people how to cultivate agriculturally, cultivate the products, and he recommended the 5 grains. That means not only cereals, but also beans, azuki beans, soybeans, and sometimes sesame. And they consider this the basic and guarantee of a Chinese culture and civilization since ancient times. Because these grains are full of proteins. In general, these proteins, they complement each other perfectly, and they have a similar effect as animal proteins. So this diet ensures healthy survival in a modest basis, even in times of need. So this was also a gift for the everyday life from this emperor. Now we have another person. This is Guhong. He lived later, and he liked to read and to write extensively on immortality. So he wrote a lot of things. This is interesting to read, but perhaps I will skip that. I only will read that what he wrote. Methods that lead to longevity require silence, freedom from compulsive behavior, and forgetting our physical limitations. Methods for achieving longevity depend on extending one's love to creepy crawlies so that nothing that breathes is harmed. And this you can hear always for if you want to succeed with exercises in Buddhism, you have better to be friendly and helpful to the others. Also in Taoism, it's always said, without that, you will not have a big success in gaining longevity. Perhaps you can improve your own health. That's already something. But if you have higher fields, higher aims, then you should be a helpful person. So then we have more from this Qigong, what he wrote. I will read you this part here on the right. This is about starches, because starches nowadays we say it's not very good for the health. And also at this time, they had already found out that eating starches is not as good. You should better avoid them. At the same time, they were part of the diet that the Emperor Shennong had proposed. So they are good for living, but also good for not always being healthy. So, but there is a Chinese word, this is Gu, that means avoid starches. And some people, they thought only avoid starch, but eat other things, but not starches. But sometimes they did not eat anything. For example, a Taoist a Taoist healer who came to the emperor, to a certain emperor, and and this Taoist said he did not eat when treating a sick person in order to speed up the healing process. Then the emperor said, when he heard that, he said, this man will be starved very soon if he doesn't eat. Then he had him imprisoned and guarded, and all the Taoist asked for was 2 or 3 bottles of water to make energized water. This went out for more than a year, during which time his complexion became fresher and fresher, and his strength remained normal. The emperor then asked him how long he could continue this, and the Taoist replied that there was no limit, perhaps several dozen years. His only fear being that he might die of old age, but not of hunger. The emperor then stopped the experiment because he wanted to get immortal. Perhaps the emperor, he stopped. This Taoist was not useful. He stopped the experiment and sent him away. Just note that this Taoist statement shows that abstaining from starch cannot prolong life, which the emperor probably had been looking for. So it cannot prolong life, but if you go into the mountains and forests during political unrest, you can avoid starvation by following the basic rules for avoiding starch and not rushing into anything. So if you do not eat starches, and you can live without eating much, but you will not gain immortality, longevity. So now we have this Gu once again, a little bit more in depth. It Bigu, or avoiding grains, starchy foods, has long been discussed, practiced, and accepted in connection with Qigong practice in various circles in China. My teacher explained it as a cleansing of the digestive system, which can occur spontaneously and unexpected in connection with classical Qigong exercises, if necessary. The literal translation of Bigu is avoiding grains. I have already explained that. Yes, someone say that you can deliberate fasting Bigu, and others say it must arrive spontaneously. Bigu, based on one's own practice, corresponds 100% to the current needs of the respective body. That means you practice and Bigu comes unattended. Then suddenly you are not hungry anymore and you do not want to eat, even you drink very few. This is the real Bigu in Qigong. Bigu does not occur in people who do not need this cleansing. Some people associate avoiding grains not only with health, but also with longevity and immortality. This will certainly not be brought about deliberately, but exclusively through spontaneously occurring Bigu. Certainly through further spontaneously occurring events which must be understood and followed. So when you practice certain things and there is something that happens that you cannot preview, you cannot know before, that happens without having searched as it. Everything that happens in the realm of advanced higher Qigong abilities does not happen because of one's own intentions, but exclusively spontaneously. It arises from Wu Wei, non-doing, not from Yo Wei, purposeful doing. So a little bit about Yu Wei and Wu Wei. The movements of Wu Wei originate from the Yuan, from the original spirit of non-doing. The movements of Yo Wei, doing, originate from the Sheshan. This is the spirit of knowledge, learning, and purposeful action. Your way is action guided by one's own thoughts or heart. Wu Wei is unplanned, unintentional action. It occurs automatically and is brought about by the latent consciousness. It is an action that is set in motion solely by its own nature. You cannot search for it even. If you search everything you're searching for, you will not find it in this thing, in this in these things. In everyday life, including in China, Wu Wei means doing nothing. However, this everyday meaning is not identical to the meaning of the term in Qigong. Here it refers to internal, external movements that occur automatically, which are called Wu Wei. All exercises taught by people belong to Yo Wei. This is a mistake, not Wu Wei. Exercises taught by people belong to Yo Wei. Have what we can think Yo Wei. If you only practice such exercises, you cannot reach a high level in Qigong. These exercises in Qigong, somebody has to teach, somebody has to learn, you have to think about, you have to remember it. All this belongs to Yo Wei. Wu Wei at this point here is not correct, a writing mistake. Nevertheless, the persistent practice of Yo Wei exercises is a prerequisite for the transition to Wu Wei. So if you do not practice that are elaborated, then it's very difficult to have a transition to the non-doing doing. all abilities associated with latent potential, from opening the third eye to achieving immortality, are related to Wu Wei. They cannot be done, they arise. So, yes, we have had a student who had the tendency to open the third eyes, and then Master Gu, he gave him something he could do, how to maintain it, gave him some advices. But then he had to continue to work, and the work changed. He had more work than before, he practiced less, and then it closed again. And so, yes, he was a doctor. And if he would have practiced that, he could have good experience. He could see all the organs from his patients directly without machines. But perhaps he was had a bit fear to be a person with this type of capacities in a modern hospital. So, if you want to have achieving good results in Qigong, you need a good teacher, suitable exercises, and regular practice. In this way, you can first stabilize your own physical, mental, and spiritual health, doing something for yourself. A longer, healthier life is already achievable at this level. So if you have the suitable exercises, you do not need a very high level to get a healthy life. After that, with other suitable exercises, you can develop the ability to send Qi to others. In some cases, even to heal burns, broken bones, and cancer. This requires very long practice of appropriate exercises. With these abilities, you can be of great help to others. This, and above all, this can in turn further refine and improve your own level, helping others. In this way, you may achieve longevity. So, for immortality, if it can be achieved at all, it happens very, very rarely. In China, they showed us some places with that Taoists, which died dead Taoists, and they told us, this were the immortal things. This immortality is not the same as the modern thinking about longevity. So if everybody has a long life, old people there, and who will work for them, who will nourish them, and but this is not the same with this type of longevity that you can reach with certain Taoist exercises. This is a longevity where you transform yourself, you transform your inner, and you do not need to eat very much then, and perhaps you do not need in the society, or perhaps you want to hide you in the town, so you can still help people, but they do not always see you. This is very difficult to say, but this problem with this longevity will not be a problem for the society. So then I have an appendix. I do not know how much time do I still have. Hello?
You have crossed 10 minutes more.
10 minutes more. So are you interested in the...
Sorry, not 10 minutes more. You have crossed your limit by 10 minutes more. It should be from the chairperson or the...
So that means it's finished now.
Chairperson.
Hello? Huh?
Please ask the chairperson.
I
sorry.
do not understand what you say. Can you please?
What he's trying to say is that you have passed your time limit as far as your time that you were given as your slot.
It's
for
already
speaking,
passed.
sharing
So
your
okay, now
presentation.
so that's
So
what
how
I
much longer
asked
do
him.
you have left? How much longer do you still have left?
No, nothing. This is an appendix. It's voluntary. There's two things there because recently should I continue or not?
Yeah, please. Why don't we give her 5 more minutes to complete her presentation, please?
Yes, it depends on the program as well. Okay, let's continue.
Yes, please. In 5 minutes, if you can wrap it up. Thank you.
Yes, I will. You can get this PPT and then you can read it and it's get a bit more information. So I have thought also about Qing Shen. Yes, the 3 treasures of Qigong. Qing is essence, Qi is energy matter, and Shen is the spirit. But sometimes you read that the Qing is the matter. This is wrong. Qing is a fine essence. And there I have a translation. We have translated the Tao Te Ching as well. And then there I translated this with Schule yesterday. I said perhaps it might be interesting how the things develop, how they grow up, how they come into life. So open that means Wörter, a face, that corresponds only to the Tao. The Tao become things, vague and indeterminate. Vague and indeterminate. In the middle are images, vague and indeterminate. In the middle are things, so deep, so dark. In the middle is Qing. This Qing is real. In the middle is faithfulness. From ancient times to today, this name has been preserved. Accordingly, one recognizes the origin of beings of things. How can I know the state in the origin of beings and things? Through this. So then this thing that is together with Qing Shen is meant there. This is at the moment of the beginning of things. This is the essence, the essence of everything that can develop. And in the same way, is the Chinese medicine also understands this in this way, in a relation with the Qi. It's called Qing Qi, and it means the essence Qi. The Qi is the energy matter, and Qing is the essence Qi. Just I wanted to add that, and for you to have a look at all the three Chinese emperors, the founders of their culture, Huangdi, the Yellow Emperor, who wrote the Huangdi Neijing, which is also still today in use. It's a Chinese medicine book. And then Fuxi and his wife or sister, we do not know, Yuan, he developed the 8 trigrams and more, and the Qigong that we had already. So, okay, thank you. Questions?